back, and many thanks for staying with us right here on Morning at NTV. With me, Romeo Busiku. We are getting into another conversation largely centering around the NSSF Amendment Bill. I do have Julius Mukunda, the Executive Director for the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group. Thank you for joining us, and a very good morning.
Good morning.
Well, last week, Parliament passed the NSSF Amendment Bill. Among others, it allows for midterm withdrawals on one's savings. Yes. What do you make of it?
I think it's a welcome proposal, and I hope the President would assent to it. Why? Because we have been told that we spend all our retirement benefit within 1 year when we get it from NSSF, and in fact, a number of people have not been able to, to continue to have the benefits, after retirement because they've already spent it. I think the proposal for me is you are helping people to test the waters before they retire. That's number one. Instead of having all your 100 million at a go, put it in an investment and it all goes away, you have only 20 to test the waters. So that by the time you get to the 80, you know exactly what you are doing. Secondly, for me, it psychologically prepares you for your retirement. That, okay, now I can access my 20, I still have the 80 remaining. What am I supposed to do? Psychologically, it helps to prepare for you for your retirement, and that's very important because a good number of us are not prepared for retirement. I think for me the third point is that it increases ownership. It's not that NSSF is doing a favor that they are keeping the money and they give you at a particular point when you finish. No, it helps you to understand that actually this is the 20% I have got. I also have my 80%. It even helps you to continue saving more with the NSSF because you know that after getting your 20%, your 80% is remaining, and as such, it encourages you and even others to invest more. So for me, those are really my key points, and you can see it's more of a human nature, a personal nature, for you to start planning.
And I was talking to a few economists, and they were saying, since you're getting this money when you're still energetic, you can diversify your savings into different assets to avoid, the situations where there's a volatile market, volatility in the market, and so forth. You can survive.
And also making mistakes. The other important element is you are not given an opportunity to make a mistake. For example, people when they get it, they say, let's go farming. Farming is not an easy thing, by the way. You go there and you burn your fingers. But just imagine, you've got all your savings and you've burnt it like that. So for me, it is a way of really testing yourself. You are still energetic. You have so many ideas that you want to try out. So that by the end of your 20%, you know exactly what you're going to do at the end of the retirement. The proponents, I think one element they are making, which is not convincing, is that, look, NSSF has invested all your money in long-term bonds and investments, and as such there is no money. I think we are forgetting that we are humans. When you tell me that you have invested your long-term for 10 years, you have invested my money, and I'm dying the next day, that investment does not make sense to me. So let us balance between meeting human needs and also investment needs. And I think now NSSF needs to go back to the drawing board and look at its portfolio and model out and say, okay, we are likely to be needing this amount of money. And they have the money. And say, okay, let's have this as part of the reserves to meet these emerging needs. And they can also even make a transition and say, in this financial year, we are not going to give. We are going to start the next financial year because you need to give them room to be able to prepare properly. And I think that's the one that NSSF needs to do. If you keep on saying we've invested this money a long time, we begin to get suspicious that we are not likely that this money is not likely to be there. By the way, that's the other part. They are forgetting that when you say you can't get little now, I begin to ask, do you even have it? Or this money was eaten and it was taken? And we need to prevent that, because I've been told, I understand very well that actually rumors can kill an investment, can kill a market.
Indeed.
So as NSSF, they need to come out strong and say, we have the money, we can meet this need.
But as Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, why do you think NSSF was adamant, even during the discussions, to actually allow midterm access? They were against it.
That was the only point I know, and I'm saying that their case was not compelling at all for me. They said we have invested all the money in long-term investment, therefore we don't have enough cash now to meet this new bill that is there. And all we are saying right now is, let us have a transitional clause and say, okay, this is going to start the next financial year to help you prepare, have this. In any case, let me tell you, not everybody is going to line up at NSSF to get that 20% at this particular moment, because those who are still working might not this money. But there are those who are in dire need and they haven't fulfilled the conditions of accessing this money. They can now access only 20% to survive. So that by the end of cutting the retirement age, they can now get their 80%. So the case they are giving right now is not comparing at all vis-a-vis the current needs that people have. Remember, even during COVID, we were saying, no, we shall get out of this. Let us not use our savings for such an emergency that is likely even to go.
But now COVID-19 is here to stay.
COVID-19 is here to stay. But the same now, and we are saying, okay, it is here to stay. We know how to manage it. Now we can even begin to think about investment.
Another challenge they did talk about as NSSF was that majority of the savers do not have a lot of money that would actually be enough to help them during this trying time of COVID-19. With the 20%, if you use the 20% on only 1 million shillings, they say it would be very, very little money. And most of the savers have not been saving for the 10 years, which is the requirement for you to get the money.
So what's their problem now? You see, now again, that shouldn't be their problem. If the biggest majority have not been saved for 10 years, so why are they worried? They feel people will definitely come. And I can tell you that even those who have been saving for more than 10 years are likely not actually to come for this 20%. They are likely to wait for their retirement. Although NSSF at first is like a first saving for you, when you get into it 3, 4, 5 years and you give a look at our statement, your statement is increasing. It actually encourages even to save more. That's something that probably they don't know. So let them not be resistant to the money I have given you for the last 10, 20 years. No, when I say I want little, be receptive. In fact, I would have loved to say, okay, out of 20, let's give them 10. But if you say the principle itself is bad, there is an indication that you might be having problems which you are not telling me. And that's something I really want NSSF.
Now, this is a personal experience, Julius Mukonda. I went to the NSSF around December of 2020. I wanted to find out how much money I had in there. I've been saving since at least 2011. That was 9 years by 2020. So 2021 being my 10th year of saving with NSSF.
No, so now you qualify.
As they were discussing, I was like, okay,
let me go and check.
Let me go and check. And they gave me bad news. They said, you do not have a single coin with us. So over 10 years, I don't have a single coin with the NSSF. So it seems like other people are also in this boat.
Now, there is a huge category of that. In fact, there is a huge category of those. Your money actually is removed from your salary. It's actually removed.
It's removed every time.
It's removed, yes. And it is not declared the other side. And there is a huge category of that. And now, even this 20% is going to help people understand that, because there are those who have never bothered even to go and check their balances. But now, because of this, it is going to make you go there and check, and they tell you have no single coin, but you know you have been saving. So you begin now to investigate to ensure that your money is taken to that particular. And part of this amendment actually is also to give NSS powers to confiscate property from the third party. The people are supposed to declare their returns, and they have not been doing that. So for me, is let NSSF embrace this. Let it be part of its showing a human face that we are there to help people who are in need at this particular moment. It is only 20%, because I'm told actually that they collect on a monthly, they collect around 107 billion on a monthly, and they pay out something like 39% of that. That's something like 407 billion or so. So they have money. They still have the reserves.
Do you think before they actually allow for midterm access, they should carry out some kind of internal audit to find out if actually the people who have been saving for the last 10 years actually have money in their accounts? Because we're also getting information that people who were already retired for years were not receiving their money. Like I retire and 2 years later, I'm still chasing for NSSF money. On a personal experience, I have seen NSSF really uptake in terms of improve in terms of giving out the benefits, and they have like 7 days benchmark. NSSF is one of the most advanced agencies we have here in terms of technology. I know they have the numbers. I know they are even up to date.
Even they have the recent 2020 financial year report. They have these, but these numbers are there. They know on a daily basis how much money they give out. They know if 10%, if 20% is be given out, what kind of cash reserve is also required. What they are not telling us right now is a picture that we don't know. When you say the money that they can't do it because of long-term investment, for me, is if a new law comes in place, then things change. Then you go back even to your investment portfolio, and you see those ones you need to pull back. It happens all the time. So the only thing I support at this particular moment is, can we give them a transitional period? Because this is cash, a transitional period. And 1 year, I think, for me, is okay for NSSF to get prepared and start giving out
a
money.
Transitional period of 1 year. Is it too long?
I don't think it's too long, considering that you need to be able to unlock some of the investments that you have made, and also to prepare if there is any massive lineup at NSSF, which I also highly doubt. So they need a transition period. We can debate if 1 year is good or it's too long, but we can give them a transition period and say you can start at this particular moment.
1 year could be too long because we are talking about diffusing the onset and the effects of the pandemic. Students are going back to school. I really do believe this should be much faster.
Maybe the other point
now more than ever, people should be allowed.
The other point they are giving is, why would you want to get your saving and take it for consumption expenses?
Yes.
That's another debate on where I'm going to invest my money. But I think for me, really, let them embrace it and let them get prepared on how to roll it out.
So we would like to know, why is it that always members of the public clamor for NSSF money when they are in distress? Is it that they believe this money is not being put to good use?
I think when you're in distress, you are really looking for opportunities to get out of it. And COVID taught us a lot. Those who never had savings really suffered.
Indeed.
Suffered.
Indeed.
Those who had savings, was now time to start to look at them and say, pick a coin or two so that you can be able to survive. But also is that, you see, I have had issues with the NSSF in terms of the expenditure. When they make some very stupid decisions, you fire somebody regularly and you end up paying 200 million in a court case because you made a stupid decision. That is not your money. That was my money that you were spending.
Indeed.
So sometimes we get to that and say people should stop wasting our money in terms of those kind of things. So you needed to see more public, a more better image on NSSF, and they are trying to do a pretty good job. They have also burnt their fingers. I think they have learned, but surely let them embrace it. It's something very small for them.
How is allowing midterm access good for this economy? Let's expand on that so that
it's nice.
the viewer could know.
It's going to increase consumption. That's what we're missing in this country. People we have no money in our pockets.
We hadn't discussed it.
So yes, so really is, if you have midterm access, you are increasing consumption in this economy. People are going to be able to, those who want to go building, they start buying building materials. People want to go farming, they're going to employ people on the farms. They are going to buy farm inputs. They are going to, so the expenditure increases in terms of
pressure on commercial banks.
So
because there is liquidity without cost. I'm not going for a loan in a bank. I'm getting my savings and I'm investing it.
Loans
so there's liquidity without cost. So
Banks
will
have
there be pressure on the banks?
Banks have where they spend money. They're going to buy bonds with the government of Uganda. So
the bank is waiting for me to come and get a loan. But I'm getting a chance to go to my NSSF savings and get that money. So the bank is missing out. Liquidity without cost.
But you see, the bank has got an alternative.
Yeah.
The bank can walk to Bank of Uganda and buy bonds and treasury bills from government.
Yeah.
In any case, I'm more a risk to a bank than when it is buying papers from Bank of Uganda.
Yes.
So, but I think for me it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
When you have extra cash in the pocket, you might want to worry about inflation maybe, but that is very small money in an economy that is just recovering and is coming out of
maybe
COVID.
we can give the potential people who would want to go for this midterm access on their withdrawals some of the ideas on where they can actually invest this money.
No, this country is in full of investment ideas. Today morning, I was just watching a clip on somebody who is trying to make cloth out of banana fiber.
Yeah.
I was in shock. You can go and start estate business. It's also working. Start small. That's the other part that people don't forget. Also start small. If you want to go to farming, this country we're endowed with a very good weather. So get out there, but also get advice. Don't think that farming is you have it, you know how to grow beans. I'm told that if you want to grow coffee, go to Nus Cafe. There is an organization that can help you on how you grow the right coffee. There is poultry. We export eggs and in South Sudan, except the Kenyans are refusing to take our poultry. But I'm hoping the president might work on that. It will work out.
Yeah.
So there is internal market. Value addition in this country. Go to the supermarkets. You know, there is bushera being packed. There is banana juice being packed. There is mukamana yamba. It is being packed. So I think there is a lot of investment that you can actually go into. But also you can also go with colleagues. Don't go it alone.
Yeah.
Get 4 or 5 of you, put money together. You can actually do a very good
And of course, during this pandemic, we've learned that focusing on one thing is actually dangerous.
Yes.
Focusing on only coffee is dangerous because
Yes.
if the market closes, you're going to be in trouble.
You're going to be in
But
trouble.
what I've learned and what the economists are saying is diversification of your savings is the way to go.
Is the
if
way
you
to
could
go.
go to poultry, coffee, if you go to farming and fuse all this into one pot, you can actually survive.
You can actually
Compound on
survive.
that.
And actually, also COVID has taught us which sector is more resilient than the other. Because we thought manufacturing is the best, services are the best, they bring high returns, yes. But when a crisis like COVID hits, they are the ones that go down. Agriculture actually is the only sector that grew. The rest,
But somehow we did not give them more money. to
but
the
somehow
sector.
we're not there. So now, if you have your investment, you go in agriculture.
Yes.
Because people still need food on the table. That's whatever, whether you are rich or poor, you still need food on your table. So you go in agriculture, but go in smartly. Get the advice from the professionals.
Diversify.
Yes, and diversify. If you're going to grow coffee, if you're going to grow beans, if you want to grow maize, and think of value addition. I think that's also another important element that we can also put in. If you want
Value
to have your
addition
maize,
is important.
it's important. Have your maize. Don't sell the beans. Sell the flour. Pack it in some sort of way. You will definitely, and start small. Let's not think of having tons and tons of maize.
Now,
No.
Mr. Julius Mukunda, here's another worrying trend. Of the 2 million people who saved with the NSSF last year, 100,000 fell off the wagon. They could not actually contribute money to the fund anymore. Either the employer was in distress or they had to cut down the number of hours they were working. So money was not coming in. 100,000 people were chopped off. They were not actually contributing. Do you envisage a situation if the onset of the pandemic persists that more people might fall off the wagon, especially if midterm access is very slow?
I think COVID-19 also is telling us that really the damage might be even more than what we envisaged.
100,000.
100,000 more than we envisaged. And yes, if we don't have sort of full opening of the economy, because just a small partial opening has really brought back the economy back. If we continue like this, the situation might be bad. More people are going to be laid off. Even those who have not been laid off, if the situation doesn't improve, they're going to be laid off. So it might be bleaker than what we are seeing. But the bit with the NSSF is that you are given what you have contributed. You are not given what you are likely to contribute in the near future.
Yeah.
So it is what you have contributed that you are given. You can't blame them for the COVID-19 that you don't have the returns on you.
I could be saving with NSSF. I'm not 45 years. I've not been working for over 10 years, but somehow I'm also in distress. What do we do for this section of people, all the savers?
And that's where your government comes in. I think that's now where your government
Let's give
comes
them resolutions.
Yes, government comes in. And that's why I've been talking about stimulus packages that are targeting those who are in critical needs. For example, if you look at the Youth Livelihood Program, this would be a very good program for us to help those who don't have jobs so they can start making some income generating activities. If you look at MYOGA is an excellent idea if we can handle it well. If we cannot make it political. Because when you make it political, people think it's just a grant of government, you get it, run away, marry a second wife.
I see.
No. We can get it, and it can help you. Look at, and what we have also been pushing for is an SMEC fund, small and medium enterprises, to do their work. Those are areas where government can help.
Finally, Julius, this seems like a simpleton question, but never say never. Do you think President Yoweri Museveni will assent to this bill, which is now an act?
He should. Why should he not? He should, because...
I say, never say never.
I mean, he should really. I don't know. I was telling you.
Yes.
I have not seen any more compelling reason than what the only reason they gave.
Indeed.
So for me is I want a more, NSSF must give me a more compelling reason as to why we shouldn't do it. But as of now, I am not convinced.
All right.
I am convinced that the 20%, this 20% we're talking about is good for us.
All right. Julius Mukunda, the Executive Director for Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, thank you very much for having made the time to speak to us.
Thank you.
It was really interesting.
Nice atmosphere.
Great ambience. All right, that's it for this edition of Morning at NTV. It was exhilarating, it was insightful, it was educative. And to the kings, queens, boys and girls who are celebrating their birthdays on this particular Wednesday, the 24th of February, please be cognizant of the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic is still rearing its very ugly head with 112,072,000 plus cases of COVID-19 on the international stage. And in Uganda here, we are grappling with 40,243. Have yourselves a blessed morning. Let's do this again tomorrow. Good morning.